So far on this channel, whenever we talked about a topic, it generally tends to stay on the more specific side of things. For instance, vernacular architecture, or Victorian architecture, or Catalonian independence. Sometimes we go a little bit broader and talk about things such as vernacular against interregional culture. But today, I want to focus on something that is much wider in scope, and that is worldviews. I happen to have a lot of interest in worldviews because it's has been one of the greatest influences in shaping who I am today, and it's one of the first things I try to understand with the people I meet. Now, worldviews is a monster of a topic, and I think it's only fair that I explain what they are and then how they are formed before saying anything else. And worldviews is essentially the way we understand the world and the different elements within it, whether that be the whole idea of the universe, of humans, society, nature, culture, you name it, it's there. And they come to be formed as a mixture of conscious or subconscious reflection upon the experiences we receive. Now, because of this, naturally, different people have different worldviews because they have different experiences. You can certainly have similar worldviews because you've experienced similar things or the same event. However, everyone is going to have their own particular, even if just slight differences in understanding a certain topic or experience. So no two worldviews are exactly the same. They can certainly be really similar, but they'll never be the same. So worldviews are something that is very personal, and over time they seem to change more, whether that be within the lifetime of one same person, or whether that's a historical thing. For instance, the transition between the harmony and control of enlightenment to the creativity and freedom of romanticism, and then the reliance on science from modernism, and then the whole thing about everything being relative of postmodernism. So you can already see where this is going. It's a really complicated, really wide. I think it's not necessarily complicated. The thing is, it's a really wide topic, so it's difficult to make any statements about it at all because people are not gonna, for the most part, they're not gonna agree. And even if they agree, there's gonna be usually some kind of individual that doesn't agree with a specific thing. So obviously, again, worldviews are a topic that is really difficult to discuss. Now, worldviews have been used to think about a number of different things. For instance, our role in the universe, if life has any sort of meaning. Does man belong in nature? Is it supposed to rule over nature? What is the nature of technology? And should we really just continue developing, or should we go back to a really simpler lifestyle and so on? Certainly it covers some really wide amount of topics, which I will be discussing in future videos, ideally. But I won't be going through a historical account because, again, every single person has them, and to go through every single person throughout humanity, knowing full well that there's going to be more people being born after this video and grow up and changing opinions, is not really a feasible thing to do, and something that would require far too much work. And quite frankly, it's just impossible for me as an individual or as part of a group. It's just impossible to do because worldview is too wide. Over time, it's just going to change throughout society or as individuals. Now, knowing this full well, what I can do is actually explain my own experience with worldviews. And I think the first thing to begin with is me as a child. I happened to grow up mostly in a mixture of UK and Spain at different times, and I grew up as a Catholic. However, when I was little, I already noticed that there was things that people didn't agree with, even inside of the Catholic Church. Then there was people with different religions and so on. So one of the first things that I thought about back then was that there's very little, if anything, that is absolute, and that is still a standard that I use to this very day. However, it's become much more apparent to me after doing more research upon different societies, different people, and just overall having more life experiences. Now, I cannot really, I will not go over every single detail about my lifestyle, but for instance, my worldview in terms of why did I choose architecture, for instance, to study it, was because a mixture of things. One of my favorite things when I was little was cultural atlases, which happen to have little pictures of different buildings throughout different societies, and it's one of the things I like the most. I really love Lego as a toy; it's my favorite, and that was really stereotypical there. Sorry. And one of my first experiences with architecture, actively, was being in York Minster, a cathedral in the north, well, a minster in the north of England. And I happened to go in and just look up at the bolts, at the different elements, at the columns, at the little ornamentations, the stained glass windows, and I just thought, I want to do this. Even if not the exact same building, even if it's not the same style or whatever, I want to be able to create an emotional reaction throughout my buildings. I want to create things that, appeal to people, that inspire them in some way, whether that be inspire in awe, in happiness, in sadness. I wanted to do something inspiring, essentially, in some way or another. So that's why I decided to do architecture. Now, in terms of me writing, I have not really touched this too much, to be honest, in this channel, but ever since I was little, again with the Legos, especially with other toys as well, but mostly Legos, I used to just create my own stories, and I thought, it may be that more people want to hear about these things if I refine them and I make them better as stories, and I may be able to deliver some of the messages I am trying to do with architecture through this as well. So that's the reason I started studying architecture, and also why I started reading and writing more, because I'm a person that's how do I put this? I want to create and to receive many experiences throughout my life, many of them. I'm not willing to go through everything. For instance, I do not drink. I don't think it's worth it, but that's my own personal opinion. Everyone has their own view on that. I want to experience a number of things and create experiences for other people as well. But I realized that that many things, well, most things, if not everything, is not absolute. So that's essentially the point of departure of my worldview. I believe our people do not necessarily have some kind of destiny or role within society other than the one they choose to fulfill themselves, if they so choose to do. So yeah, that's pretty much worldviews and a little bit about my own understanding of the world. However, I'm getting tired of saying this again and again, but it's too wide of a topic, so this is more like an introduction to it, and I suppose you'll be able to see it more by seeing other videos as I upload, my own particular worldviews, and hopefully it helps towards developing your own in a more conscious way, because many people are just opinionated, but they don't really reflect on, is this right or wrong? And obviously there's no one good answer, because it may be this taste is good against this taste is bad. Who is eating this? Is it a fly? Is it a human? Is it a vegetarian? Specifically, is it a vegan? Is this right or wrong? So again, I think I'm just trying to explain something that really cannot be explained, but I hope this has been a little bit of food for thought for those of you that watch this channel. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully I'll go with something that is a little bit more specific next time, but I thought that it was worth the intention trying to make this video. If not because I haven't been able to draw a conclusion, because there's no such conclusion. Everyone has their own worldview. That's it. But to maybe help kickstart a process later on. Just like when I was a little child and I realized that little things, if anything, are absolute. See you next video.